Yeah, but that just means that they don't actually check for that. Like I
Let's.
don't actually have the sales data, but I was told it was really good.
Well, good. I'm glad because I have no idea what the hell is going on other than General Sentenza Noria has the best name of all time, and it's
Yeah.
the Witcher voice actor,
Yes, it is.
which is so weird to me. By the way, I mean I've only played like the first 3 missions, but he like wouldn't you say like after the success of The Witcher, like this kind of rolls beneath him? Is that insulting to say? I apologize if it is.
It's actually a really good role if you follow the entirety of the campaign.
He's a bad guy senses are tingling, but he has a cool name, General Sentenza Noria. I mean,
So it is. Record from here.
yes.
So Desi and Vori. Nothing can go wrong.
Prepare for, I don't know. Prepare for what, Hestus? Do you know
For that.
Hestus?
I'm aware of the AoE4 memes.
You know, this is not on topic or what we want to say, but I think the English, ideally, really, the English and HRE villagers say the most satisfying shit. I mean, I don't even know what Hestus Commende is, and I can listen to it all day long, right? And what needeth be undone? I mean, who came up with that? They need a free lunch, right?
I mean, this is real stuff. That's Old English.
Right. I've heard that like English from that period in time is. I mean, no one today would understand what that is.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Okay, so the topic for this video we wanted to hit was I've forgotten now. What did you say? Isn't that embarrassing?
That is very embarrassing.
You
We
forgot
were
as
going to
well?
talk about Company of Heroes 3.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. It's Relic.
And not be embarrassed, yes.
Relic.
Because we planned pretending to be embarrassed, yes.
So Relic made Company of Heroes 3. They also made Age of Empires 4. Would you say that both of those games were not well received? Now, I'll add that with a caveat or an asterisk. I personally think Age 4 is very well received from a gameplay standpoint, but very not well received from a content standpoint. Meaning, the game's been out for almost 2 years. We've gotten just a couple of maps and 2 civs. Meanwhile, Age 2 is getting all this. I mean, Age 2 just got Age 1. I don't even
It's
know how that's.
completely bizarre. I think Microsoft expected significant sales from that, but I don't understand the content plan. Like, it never had the intention, from what I can see, to retain players.
Yeah.
Because when you run so let's call it a live service, it's kind of trying to do that, but it's only doing it for the multiplayer and without actual factions. So when you try to do that, you actually have to drop something significant every few months. That's kind of the minimum. And they're only doing like balance patches and sometimes maps.
You know, they do good things with their, like, in-game events, like, as much as I joke about it, like, Villager Appreciation Month. It's like, I mean, that's kind of cool. Like, you do little things in games, like challenges or whatever, and you'll get, like, portraits and emblems for your character. I mean, I think that kind of stuff's really neat. Limited time stuff that you don't even need to participate if you don't want to. I mean, you're not really missing out on anything important. But I'll also say that they really need to release more content for this. I mean, we've only had Ottomans and Malians since launch of new civs that have been added, and the game's going to be 2 years old soon. So, yeah, I wonder like what's going on over there. The same way as well. Company of Heroes 3 has not been well received. In fact, it's like negatively received.
Yes, and that's entirely on Relic. Like, how do you essentially pretend that you're working closely with the community to make the game as good as it can be, then not have features that Company of Heroes 2 had. And I'm not talking about like, oh, this and that faction, right? Like that's fine. That's fine to launch with fewer factions, which then you'll add anyway. Many of them were DLC anyhow. But we're talking about things like not showing player names, and the whole reason behind this is, by the way, that it's using the same engine as Age of Empires.
Oh,
Age of
really?
Empires 4. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. So they had to redo a lot of stuff. But it doesn't come across like that. It's barely different gameplay from COH2. Like you have to be actually heavily involved in the community to see the differences with like the battle groups and all that.
You know, I played a decent bit of COH1 just casually. So I never really got into the multiplayer or the meta. But I mean, what I will say is it's surprising to me. Like, what? I guess I'm scratching my head. Like, how have you spent this long to make a sequel to a really well-received game, Company of Heroes 2, and it's worse than the second game? I mean, like, you know what people love, and you're not, you're not kind of building upon what your success was. It's a head-scratching move that they've done. And I think it's almost like, I wouldn't say it's as bad as Halo Infinite, but when you're not there at launch and you're going to take forever to bring back what was in the previous installment, like what was better than the previous installment, people are either going to go to that previous installment or just leave and not come back. I mean, it's not...
Which is exactly what's happening.
Right, they don't have
going
that.
back to Company of Heroes 2.
Yeah, like people just don't have that patience. I mean...
Yeah, why would they? I mean, this is a paid product.
I can't believe
I got it for free because I do YouTube, right? So
well, yeah, me too.
Sure.
I guess I should mention that. I mean, they did give me the game for free, so I mean, take all my opinions with a grain of salt. But I would. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I would not pay. Was it $70 or was it $60?
60.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that. I'm
Full
sorry.
AAA price, basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that. I would actually be upset if I paid that and got the. I mean, can it be to the vision that they want? Yes, I do, but I mean, I remember launch week. Was it something stupid like you could only play Access or Allies? You couldn't mix and match. Is that like a staple of the series, or is that just for that entry?
You can match them in team games if I remember correctly, but 1v1, there's no mirror matches.
Yeah, I think that's weird. I mean,
And it is a staple of the series, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's for historical accuracy. I mean, that's fine, but
Oh wait, sorry, in team games you also can't mix and match.
yeah, I didn't get. It didn't tell me a lot of things that you can't do, so you're stuck there wondering what the hell is going on. Like some of the UI just like didn't even work. I don't know. Even it was delayed too, a significant amount of time to get to that release date.
Yeah, for sure. The delay was significant, and you know they still don't have critical things for the competitive community that I think they actually shouldn't be able to live without. So we're talking about things like replays, which were there in Company of Heroes 2. You only get to have one replay and have to keep renaming that, and you have to use a debug command basically to launch it with.
Jeez.
It's absolutely bonkers. So people can't cast games on YouTube. It's the only way to also cast tournaments right now. You can't live spectate them. I wanted to do tournaments for Company of Heroes 3 on launch, but then this came out. And
Yeah.
now I'm just not that interested, you know? The hype is kind of gone.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll probably try it out for tournaments, that is, but absolutely no promises around that.
You know, it is coming to console, so I'm curious, like, how compromised will the console version be based on them needing
Right.
to kind of double back and fix the PC version. I mean, I don't know. It's
It
interesting.
sounds not good.
And you know, Relic has all of this going on, and I actually think, and I could be wrong about this, might be separate teams, but I wonder if, because I worry the woes of Company of Heroes 3 is negatively impacting Age 4, because they need to pull resources away from perhaps new content from Age 4.
Well, I'm fairly certain that they haven't been making new content for H4 for a long time. I'm pretty sure it's company of, I'm pretty sure the company that's doing that is actually Forgotten Empires.
Oh, really? Okay.
Who are doing Age of Empires 2 as well.
Yeah.
Who are doing Age of Empires 3 as well. Who are supposedly doing Age of Mythology Retold as well. So like these guys are kicking Relic's ass in terms of output.
Yeah, and they
There's no
just
way
put
around that.
Age of Empires 1 and Age of Empires 2. Do you want to talk
Yes.
about that real quick?
I don't know much about it, but if you have something to say, then say it.
I don't own it, but I've seen screenshots of this. It's like its own, isn't it like its own UI, and
No.
isn't it like from the main menu?
It's in its own menu, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Like separated matchmaking and sorry, there's no matchmaking, I think.
I
There's
mean,
no ranked.
Is it not confusing? Like, why don't you just play AOE 1? Like, I don't understand that.
I have no idea.
Like, it exists. They remade it for a reason. You know,
But then the presence in 2 is immediately killed off because there's no ranked, right? So people are not gonna try to use it for any matchmaking really. So what's the point?
Yeah, I'm
Just selling to a casual audience, I guess.
I mean, is it cool? Yeah, it's cool, but we already have, like, you know, it's like that meme, like, we already have this at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
That's exactly what it is, though.
I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing because I'm not a hardcore H2 fan. I mean, I have played a decent bit of it, but I get it that a lot of oh, that was spicy. A lot of Age 2's relevancy 20 plus years later is in fact due to, you know, its resilient, absolute resilient player base. So like,
Yeah, people just keep coming. Like, I don't even know where they keep getting all these players from. It's absolutely crazy that a 20-plus-year-old game still keeps growing like that.
Yeah.
Especially a 2D RTS.
yeah,
Like, I would more understand it with Age of Empires 3 and Mythology, because they're at least 3D. But
right.
Game 2, I just don't get it. It's just not that modern.
There is a lot that is just really interesting to me about AoE 2's relevancy, and that's why I get it. Like, maybe that's why they brought AoE 1 into AoE 2, but also I think it's probably because I started with 4 and went back to 2. I think 4 is just a better game, completely. I mean, it's not to say 2 is not one of the best games of all time. It is. I think from a gameplay standpoint, 4 is just, it's easier to pick up. There's less civs right now, so I think that makes you understand encounters and things much easier. The dynamic maps, I think, are better and more enjoyable. I mean, 2 has that feature as well. I think 4 is just a better game. Moment-to-moment gameplay it is, but I don't know. I mean, it's not growing at the rate that I had hoped for.
No,
AoE
it's a
4.
simpler game, for sure, which I think is hurting it. Because the hardcore AoE 2 fans didn't get what they wanted, which is more depth. That's just kind of not there. So I think that's definitely painful for the game. But Age 4 certainly had a lot of potential. I think a lot of it was kind of squandered with the lack of content, with the state of the launch, you know, just kind of pushing out a half-finished product. It's actually something that happens a lot in RTSs, and that's something I wanted to ask you, actually, when we were still talking about Copy of Heroes. But wouldn't you say it's like smarter to be very upfront about things and really just release an early access game and actually tell the community what's going to happen?
Isn't that kind of what that Stormgate game is kind of doing,
Uh,
more or less?
I don't think they're going to be early access.
You know,
They're going to have betas.
I think it is valuable to some extent. I think some developers, I don't really know of any specific examples, but I worry maybe perhaps some developers may fall into the hole of just pleasing the hyper competitive community, which I think their input is very valuable, but the casuals are what's going to ultimately be what buys the game. There's going to be more casuals than pros in almost every game, I feel like. I mean, I think RTS is an exception where there's many more pros than, would you say, per capita? But, you know, I think, look at casuals. They really carry a game. I mean, Halo Wars is the prime example of that. This game's dead in the water, literally. And this game's doing fine. Same with Halo Wars 1. People surprisingly still play that, even when Definitive Edition has no matchmaking. People still find a way to enjoy
Which is
that.
absolutely bonkers. That's definitely harming it, though.
It is, and that's why I never got into it. That really
Same.
was so depressing to see. So, yes, I think if you just communicate with your audience and say, hey, like, this is how much content's in the game. We admit it's not a lot, but here's our plans, maybe potentially a roadmap for the next 24 months or something, with stretch goals, perhaps. I think it's fine. Like, I just backed this Kickstarter game. It's called Warside. It looks very similar to Advance Wars. Very similar to Wargroove, but Warside is set in modern times, kind of like how Advance Wars is. And they had stretch goals. So, like, if we hit this amount of backing, we'll release it on this platform. If we release this amount of backing, we'll add PvP matchmaking, that sort of stuff. And they were upfront about that. So I don't know if, like, crowdfunding's the way to go with getting people to understand RTS and developers to understand their audience, like that intersection.
Yeah,
But
even like Relic with Company of Heroes 3,
yeah,
I strongly do feel that there's a big misplay there where they try to look like they're working with the community, but they're actually not really taking their feedback for granted. They're not taking their feedback into account, which is something I have contacts that told me this directly, that stuff that's being discussed, not happening. Same with the Age of Empires Council. Relic didn't act on common feedback items, and I think that's harming. Like, it is going to be heavy on pro players, as you say, but if you listen to nothing at all and then still don't deliver content for casual players, then you're catering to nobody, and that's an even bigger mistake than over amplifying one audience's voice.
yeah. I unfortunately think there is no coming. I don't feel the movement, you know, the changing of the winds, if you will, that Company of Heroes is gonna make a comeback in the way that some players would hope. You know what I mean? I think I think it's gone. Maybe I'm wrong with the console release, if it's crossplay and it has some of the fixes that people want, but it's a shame.
What I know is that they're gonna keep doing a lot of DLC, but that's what they say, at least, and I think it's possible that they'll get canceled out of that.
I said Cataclysm, I meant Maelstrom.
I don't think you need it.
Oh my god, James! It's gone.
James's fault.
Oh, he did it. I'll just leave. I'll do it over here.
Oh no! What now?
Oh, so much goo. I love Voridus. Look at all your
Good,
siege.
Anakin, good.
Good, Anakin. Have they confirmed if Company of Heroes 3 will have crossplay on console?
Actually, don't know. That is one way to get things done, sort of. But I still suspect that it won't be enough. Not even close. To like what they'll actually have to do is just keep making damn content, right? There's no way around it. You have to have significant content in the game. It's very sad that they didn't for Age of Empires, and I don't think they will anymore either. Like, I think they're just gonna move on after Age of Empires 4 console comes out. It's really the last shot. That's also something I have heard from sources, that it's the last push there.
Oh, really? So you think they won't even drop new civs? They'll just leave it as is?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting. Well, that sucks.
But I have to protect the sources, so I can't say what they do or where they are.
Well, sure, I can take that out if you want.
No. I didn't say where they are.
Okay.
They do, so we're good. We're good.
You know, I guess that's one thing I will give Halo Wars 2 credit for, is when it launched, content was right around the corner. I mean, you actually had content day one with Forge, and then it was every month. You knew a new leader was dropping for, what was it, 6 or 8 months? Something like that?
Yes.
So,
that was actually too fast. Like, it burned the team out. But you can do something more reasonable, like every 2 months, 3 months, and do a little bit of something.
I wonder
Sometimes
if it would
a map,
have...
sometimes a leader.
Yeah, I wonder if they did a tick and a talk with like a leader 1 month, a map the next, a leader 1 month, a game mode the next.
Yeah, exactly. That whatever makes sense in terms of schedule, do something like that. In whatever RTS game it is that you want to do. Maybe it takes more months for you than one. That's fine too. Just do something. Don't just let the community wait for balance patches and wither in the process.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Company of Heroes 3. I'm personally rooting for it because I think it's a different kind of RTS, and I mean, it's fun to play. It really is. I have no idea what's going on. I really enjoy its historical accuracy. And I'm also rooting for Age 4, so we'll have to see what happens for both. Until the meantime, I guess we'll be covering all of those games on our respective channels. So keep your eyes locked on that.
Correct.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you, James.